Further Faster, the best independently owned outdoor store in the known universe. You know the drill, gang. Whether you're heading out on climbing, paddling, tramping, or running adventures, look no farther than Further Faster for all your gear and expertise needs. As the days get shorter, the nights get longer, and the adventures get colder. Head over to 57A Buchan Street, Sydenham, Otutahi, Christchurch, or hit them up at furtherfaster.co.nz. You will thank us. Do it.
It goes something like further, faster, there in Christchurch. Rocky is hairy and so is Badger. Jules is nice and Jacob is delicious. Go to further, faster now.
Oh, further, faster, there in Christchurch. Rocky is hairy and so is Badger. Jules is nice and Jacob is delicious.
Go to further, faster now.
Dirt Church Radio. Episode 365 of the Dirt Church Radio Trail and Ultra Marathon Running Podcast. No mai hoki mai. Welcome. My name's Matt Raymond, and I'm running solo again this week with the gang off for Easter Monday. This week, we bring you an amazing conversation. Ali spoke to Annie Hand, who's a Blue Mountains local, recently took second place at the 6-foot track marathon. She's run UTA Miler and is in for a lap round the Maunga at UTMB in 2026. Annie loves outdoors adventures and should be employed by Destination New South Wales for showcasing the Blueys in all their glory on her Instagram. But before we get to that, we'd better do this.
It's the greatest run ever. It's the greatest run ever.
Greatest run ever, which is the part of the show where we ask you to write into us and tell us your greatest run ever. Now, this doesn't have to be a race or a mountain summit. It might just be a lap round the block, something that's sung to you for some reason. Send them in to us at dirtchurchradio@gmail.com. Now, we're getting a few through, but we would like some more. So please, if you're thinking about, if you've had it in your brain for a long time, we get that a lot. People come up to us, I'm not sure I'd like to, I'm thinking about it. Just do it. Put pen to paper. Send them in to us, dirtchurchradio@gmail.com, and we would really appreciate that. And you can read them on the website too, unabridged. Now I've been on a bit of a Peter Fitzsimmons bender at the moment, boning up on my Australian history. And this is narrated by Charles Bosveld. He says it's narrated by Charles Bosveld, a.k.a. Trev Bosveld's brother. And this is, I've just had a quick scan of them because, we don't read them before we read them. And this is full of some amazing Aussie vernacular, which I can't wait to get into and which I've been absolutely loving in the Peter Fitzsimmons books. Right, so this story comes from 4 years ago when my brother Trev and myself entered a 200-mile race. Our race plans were totally separate, our crews were separate, but our goal was the same, to finish the race and finish happy. At the start line, we took some selfies with each other, we shook hands and made a deal that if towards the end we were still close to each other, then we would finish the race together. So we set off with the pack, and as the hours went past, the distance between us got further and further apart. We both had our issues, but by the halfway point, it looked like I would never see my brother before the finish line. He was running strong and according to his plan. I had stomach issues, sleep deprivation issues, and just general soreness. This particular race is called the Delirious West, and back then it was held at the peak of our heat in the southwest of Western Australia. So during the day, to minimise damage, a lot of us would walk, and during the night, we would run faster. Getting closer to the end of the race, as in about 80 kilometres to go, I'd say Trev would have been 20 or 30k ahead of me. And I remember clearly at one of the aid stations asking how far ahead he was. The response was, Charles, don't even bother. He's nearly finished. Well, that gave me a mission. If I couldn't catch up to him, at least I'd try. So as the aid stations went, my pace picked up, and my goal was just to tick off a little more at a time. Every station a little closer. Our crew didn't know it at the time, but Trev was just starting to have major problems and was only just managing to leave the aid stations just before my crew got there. It wasn't until the second to last aid station that we found out how bad a shape he was in. I set off with my own pace with the thought that maybe trying to catch up to him. About 2k from the last aid station, my pacer Laura and myself saw some headlamps ahead of us on top of the hill, and we thought no way that could be Trev and his pacer Courtney. They turned around and saw our headlamps, and they thought the same. No way can that be Charles and his pacer. Now this is where, he writes, the story becomes emotional. In those last 100 metres of catching up to him, my thoughts were mixed. Do I stay with him and walk it in? Obviously, he was now down to a crawl. Or do I carry on and aim for a podium? When we caught up to him, I told him I was going to stay with him to the end. He grabbed me, looked me in the eyes and said, no, you've run this hard to catch me. You've got to finish strong. We knew that Big Kev, and BK is another one of our mates, and I hope also for the record, that there is a small Kev and a medium-sized Kev, but Big Kev, he was the person in this race. Big Kev was chasing us down. You get back on the trails and you take it home strong. So that's what I did. At the next aid station, which is about 18k from the end according to the course, I had a changeover of paces to my wife Tamala. I'm so super proud of her because this change wasn't in the plan, and this was a distance longer than she'd trained for. She swapped packs with one of my other pacers and we set off. Because I'd pushed myself so hard the last 60 to 80 kilometres to taste Trev, my morale and energy were gone. She really pushed me for the next supposed 18k, which ended up being about 22k to the end. With her sleep-deprived brain from being both head crew and pacer, she kept on imagining that Big Kev was right behind us, or the phantom of Big Kev with his long legs about to climb over the top of us to get to the finish line before we did. Big Kev did actually catch Trev with less than a kilometre to go, taking fourth and leaving my brother with fifth. So there was Trev and Big Kev in an epic battle to the finish. A ding-dong. My emotions were like riding a roller coaster during my first 200-mile race. I'd suffered and managed to overcome many problems, overtake some of my best mates, as well as finish with a third position. Trev had gone on to podium in plenty of milers since then, but in the history of the Bosveld brothers, I will always have this one over him. Thanks for reading. Charles Bosveld, Western Australia. Perfect. What a battle. What a battle. Amazing. Send in your greatest runs ever, dirtchurchradio@gmail.com. Please, please, please. We would love to hear from you, and we love reading them out as well. So yeah, do it.
Dirt Church Radio.
Right, let's get on with our conversation with the epic Annie Hand.
I would love to put a big Dirt Church Radio welcome to the amazing Annie Hand from Wentworth Falls. Hi, Annie.
Hi, Ellie. How are you?
Good. How are you going?
Yeah, really good, thanks. Yeah.
What's been happening this morning?
Well, just at work. We've got our own business at Wentworth Falls, a tile and bathroom shop. So I'm just taking some time out to talk to you, which is so lovely.
The joys of working for yourself, hey?
Yeah, that's right. It has its benefits.
Yeah, exactly. So you've had a pretty big year already, and there's still more kind of in the works, isn't there? So recently, what is it now, 2 or 3 weeks ago, 6 foot track? How'd you go there?
Oh, I loved it. It was, it's the first time where I feel like everything just came together. All the training, it just, I felt amazing throughout the entire race. I was so happy. Came second,
And
second female.
yeah.
Steph Austin was first, and another local legend here, Zara Levitt, she came third. And it was I had to pinch myself when I was standing up on that podium, I have to tell you.
I bet you did, because I mean, like, it's your local really race, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And I guess that was the advantage of being able to train on the course, which helped me so much. I recently, in the last 12 months, got a coach, Quinton Gill from the Goat Farm, and he's a strong believer of course recce's. So for leading up to the race every weekend, I was so lucky to be able to go spend all my time out there, which is also pretty cool because I love the Megalong Valleys. It wasn't like it was a hard task. It was like, yes, please. And I definitely reckon that helped for sure.
Yeah. The Megalong Valley is so special that I don't know. I feel like you can't get out there enough.
Oh, definitely not. And I think I always see the start of the Megalong Valley, because we can start it so easily at Katoomba here, run down Nellies and sort of get to the river, and you might run past the Cox's River but then turn around. But I did take time to drive all the way to the Black Range this time and saw the back half of the race. Now, I've only ever seen that in the other 2 times that I've raced the event. And I think just spending all that time at the back half, like when it came to race day, I could remember I feel like I knew every blade of grass out there. I thoroughly enjoyed doing that. And I'm very lucky that I was able to do that quite easily. Hmm.
I mean, we're now kind of podiuming 6 foot, which is amazing. Like, it's one of the most kind of well-known races in New South Wales. But how did you kind of get into trail running? Because you've kind of
Yeah.
come onto the scene a bit more in the last few years. So
Yeah.
what made you start?
Oh, well, I mean, as a youngster, I loved cross country, did that a lot, and then went through my teens, probably stopped a bit. And then after I had my kids, who are now 19 and 17, when they were a bit younger, for exercise, I would put them in the pram and run them around our local river, which was just a flat sort of 6.5K loop. And then one day my brother said to me, I'm training for this UTA 50K Ultra Trail Australia 50 kilometres. And I'm like, what's that? So he took me up into the mountains. And as kids, we used to always bushwalk. My older brother, Dave, and middle brother, Tim, and mum and dad would take us up on the train and we'd go bushwalking in the Blue Mountains. So there was always a nice connection there. And then Dave, when he was training for his 50K, I would just join him on training runs. I think the first place he took me was Lockley's Pylon, and it blew my mind. I fell in love straight away. I was hooked. And I have a pretty addictive personality. So once I'm onto something, I'm 100%. And since then, it's slowly been signing up these events. At first, it was just to finish them. Obviously, lately now, I want to try and do as best as I can. And it's getting a little bit more competitive, but it's always been a bit in my nature anyway. So...
So how do you temper that then? You know, like, if you, because this is quite common in running for people to have these like full on kind of type A personalities where it's all in. So how do you temper that and keep yourself healthy and, you know, and like manage that all in personality?
Well, that is a great question, Ali, because I did probably about 18 months ago, I wore myself out because I did throw myself into training, and I actually became extremely iron deficient and knew nothing about needing to fuel. So this is before I got a coach, and I was just getting out and doing. I thought that the more Ks you did, the better you got. But I quickly discovered you can deplete your body so much. So I had a bit of a rude shock, December 2024, and I think my iron was 2 and my ferritin was 3. And the doctor said, yeah, you shouldn't have ran 100 Ks at Kosciuszko that year, which I can now say that was probably my hardest ever, where I was determined to finish, but it was basically crawling over that finish line, and something had to change. So I got an iron infusion and then contacted a nutritionist, and she's local to me and has been instrumental in getting my iron back up. Now it's not an issue. I eat heaps more, and I think that's the biggest thing. I don't hesitate to have all the carbs that I can get to fuel my body for what I'm demanding. And then it was getting a coach. And he taught me that by having a schedule that he obviously provides to me every day, having recovery day, doing runs that are more zone 1 and 2, not always going out there and thrashing your body. And I think that has definitely helped in this last 12 months for sure. Yeah.
Having those voices of reason, hey?
I know. I needed a coach to tell me to sort of slow down rather than like, you know, like I think he knows that whatever he gives me to do, I'll do it. So it's about, he has to pull me up every now and then and say, hey, you probably did a bit too much this week, like hold back. And which is, it's nice to have that voice of reason. Yeah.
You know, like I always see stuff from on the Ask Roz page for the Blue Mountains. So she's got a page that kind of is like a a guide to the Blue Mountains, and I always see her celebrating you on there.
They're such lovely
is
supporters.
the best thing?
Oh,
Yeah, they are, yeah. And like so passionate about the mountains. But for you, what's the best thing about living and training in the mountains?
definitely the people. Like, we have got such a lovely community, and I'm sure every area has them. I just feel like ours is extra tight, and everyone wants to celebrate everyone's successes. And whether that's you're at the pointy end at podiums, or you are just trying to achieve your longest further trail run, I've connected with so many, particularly females, reach out lately, and they have a sort of a goal in mind, and they've been asking me my advice, and I say I'm no expert, but this is what I find helps. And I've had girls ring me why they've been out on the trail lost, and I'm like, I'm probably the last person to ring when you get lost. But I was able to navigate her via FaceTime to the top of Ruin Castle. And yeah, it's moments like that where you can just connect to these people so easily. And of course, we've got the best backyard, I think.
It's pretty special.
It
Like I think it's cool to see you doing things like Mount Solitary and Ruin Castle and getting out to some of those more wild, kind of adventurous places in the Blue Mountains. What are your favourite runs in the mountains?
Definitely Ruin Castle. I'm pretty much there at least once a fortnight if I can get out to Ruin Castle. I love a sunrise at Ruin Castle. I've got an extreme soft spot for Megalong Valley. Like I said, I fell in love in the Megalong Valley, and I think I will always go back to that place. That's why 6 Foot was extra special to do well at, because I feel like it's a place that's so close to my heart. Always love a Narrow-neck run, and there's something about Mount Solitary as well. I think the fact that you can see it from nearly every lookout from this side of the mountain, and it is, why it's Mount Solitary, because it's just out on its own. It's funny because I always thought that once you climb up Mount Solitary, it would be flat on the top. And it would just be like a nice, easy run. And it's so not. And then when you look at the profile, I'm like, what was I thinking? Because it's not flat. I've got Mount Solitary Ultra coming up, actually, first time that I'm competing in that. And
cool.
Yeah, I can't wait. That'll be a nice run leading into UTA. So I'm looking forward to. Yeah, it's going to be different to 6 Foot. I feel like 6 Foot was really runnable. This is going to have a lot of hiking and climbing, but I do feel like that is a strength. So hopefully I can do well in that race.
Well, we'll be crossing our fingers for you, Annie.
Thank you.
So, like last year you did the UTA miler.
Oh, yeah.
And were you top 10?
11th.
10th place?
Female. 11th.
11th.
11th, and second in my age category, which was super exciting. I approached that race I had no idea about that distance. I'd raced a couple of 100K races before, but I thought if I was going to give it a try, in the Blue Mountains was the place to do your first miler for sure. And I tell you what, crossing that finish line, I was so lucky to run into the start line of some 50K and 100K runners you were just starting them for their day to start. And I had just finished 26 hours, and it was so nice to hear your voice, Ali. I was coming up the fur bar and all I could hear was Ali's voice, and it just, I wanted to cry, and I think I did. It was so special, and I think the fact that I got it done and felt really, really good at the end of it, I knew that these longer distances were they for me. I loved them. I loved it.
Were you intimidated going into it? Like, what advice would you give to people that are thinking about taking that step to the 100-mile distance?
Definitely, as I said before, if you can get on course wherever your mile is going to be, breaking it up was what I did. So I was lucky that it was so local. So I would train each section of the course, and I treated the day as a checkpoint to checkpoint, and little wins. Like, I was so nervous. I think I told you this on the finish line. I was so nervous about that down Perry's up Lockleys climb that when I did get to the top of Lockleys, I just felt so good. And I had a long way to go. I think that was about 100 and only 20 Ks, so about 140 to go. And I was so happy that I got to the top of that climb, and it was like a checkpoint. Okay, that bit's done. Okay, what's next? Let's get to the hydro. And then from the hydro, let's get down Narranac. And just being able to know these sort of places that I'm they're my checkpoint. That's all I have to do, rather than think of it as a whole big race, was just one checkpoint to the next. Having paces, oh my gosh, that was so good. I was so blessed to have 3 extraordinary paces, and they lifted me when I needed it. And I'm so happy that I had those 3 guys that I train with. So we know each other really well, but they were so good at getting me home, and they each brought something different. And I think that's important. So you're allowed 3 paces at UTA Miler. I recommend doing it. Like, some people just take one and they try and get them to run the whole way, like the whole 70 Ks. I thought having the breakup was actually quite good, because it was like a fresh start every time I picked up a new pacer. So that definitely worked for me.
What did each one do that was something
Different.
that worked for you? Like, so everyone
So
must have had their own little kind of special
so
thing.
I picked up Mikey, my Irish mate, first. He had run the 22K that morning, and he came up again to join me in 6 foot. My only regret was not getting him at the first 6 foot checkpoint, because I thought I'd just skip that. I could have picked him up there, and I picked him up at the second checkpoint. Well, that first 6 foot loop was probably my hardest part of the race, and I really could have used some company. It was dark. I thought that I'd be comfortable there because it's along the Cox's River, which I'm so fond of. But there wasn't a lot of people around me. I think because the race didn't have heaps of like, it was about 300 odd, I think. So we were quite spaced apart. So in that section, I was using the pink flags as my cheer squad. So every time I passed a pink flag, I'd high five it and say, thank you, cheers, thanks a lot. Just talking to myself, no one around, in the dark. I could only see a few steps in front of me. And it got to the point where if I missed a flag, I'd go back and a ribbon, I'd tap it. Oh, sorry, cheers. Like, I got quite OCD. But that's what I used to get to the next checkpoint. And then I picked up Mikey. Now, Mikey just constantly makes me laugh, and it's exactly what I needed. I said to him at that point, by the time I got to that section, I said to him, I just need you to tell me about your day. And that's what he did. He just told me all about his race. It was his first trail event, and that's what I needed at that time. And he got me to the aquatic centre, where I picked up my next pacer, which was Ainsley. He had never ran that far before, but anyone who meets Ains just knows. I think you met him the other day at Ruin Castle. He's always got a smile on his face, and that smile can lift you into the clouds. Like, it's just he was so fun. And we ran through the night from the aquatic centre to QBH, and he was so happy to do it. He's like, can I just keep going to the finish line? And I said, no, I've got another pacer He's driven up at 2:00 in the morning to meet me. I can't send him home. Now, from that event, Ains has now become a trail runner himself. He's just signed up for his first 100K, which is at this year's UTA. And it just shows you how contagious it is being around this event and being around the other runners. And now we get to train together, and it's the best. I love it. And then I picked up Dane. Dane had one mission. I said to him, just get me home. And that's exactly what he did. I think I was like chatting at the start of Kadumba, just chat, a lot of caffeinated gels. I think I hadn't slept obviously. So I was just like, oh. And he's like, Annie, I need you to stop talking in the nicest possible way and concentrate on your breathing. We've got 22 kilometres to get this done. And he was so good. It's exactly what I needed. He got me up all those Kadumba climbs. I would just follow him. He would stand in front of me, and it was really muddy by then. So he would actually sort of like track the best route. So I didn't have to use my mind by that point. It was just physically thinking, using my legs, and I was able to just follow him all the way to the finish line. And I didn't know at the time, but he was taking video footage the whole time. And now I relive that moment over and over, and I love it. Like it still gives me butterflies. You're in it because you're going, you're in it. So, I appreciated every little thing that each pacer brought to that day and night and next morning. And, I wouldn't have had it any other way.
Oh, they sound like they did a great job. You're pretty lucky to have 3 people
I
want
know.
to pace you, especially through the wee hours.
Well, they said I was lucky enough to qualify for Mont Blanc, UTMB, out of that race.
Yes.
And the first thing they said was, we're pacing you. Unfortunately, there's no paces. So I think if there was, they were all prepared to drop everything and come to France, which would have been amazing. But I'm going to have to find out how to do this on my own this time. So we'll see.
Yeah, I guess no course recce's probably either, eh?
Course recce. No, I haven't really been overseas before. So for me, I've been to New Zealand. I had been to New Zealand, yes, but never to Europe.
Okay.
So this is definitely going to be a first of everything, which excites me. Yeah.
Cool. Are you going to turn it into a bigger trip, or what's the plan?
Yeah, so I'm taking, so my brother's coming with me, which is nice, who originally got me into trail running. So he'll crew with my best friend, Ali. So she'll crew because she crews me at every event. And I think Ains is coming, which is going to be great. So I'll have 3, they'll all bring something different to the crew station, which is good, at different points. And we're going to then, Ali and I will spend a couple of days sort of recovering afterwards. And then we're jet setting around the world for 2 weeks, all around Europe, because you can't be that close, right? And I don't know if I'll ever get the chance to be there again. So I want to lap this up and see as much as I can. So I'll be away for 3 weeks. Yeah, it'll be pretty special.
That is so exciting. That's so cool.
Yeah. Are you going to be there?
So
Tell me you're going to be there.
I wish. No.
Oh.
I wish I was. That'd be the dream. That would be the dream. It's so beautiful over there. You're in for such a great time. It's a pretty amazing event and vibe, and the scenery is just next level. And then you add in all the delicious food and wine and good stuff like that too. So it's going to be, it'll be good. I do have FOMO. Are you, with UTMB, like, are you watching the videos? What are you doing? Are you kind of getting right into it, or are you just going to go in?
No, I am. So because I can't recce the course myself, I'm watching all of the YouTube from people who were up the front to middle of the pack to people who do it in 44 hours. It excites me, but it does make me a bit nervous as well. Like I watched one last week and I sort of had to stop it because I'm like, oh, this is making me a little bit too nervous. But I need to see like the weather. Yeah, the weather last year, I think, really surprised people how cold it got. And it's made me realize you can never be over prepared. Like I'm going to have to really, someone who feels the cold, I'm going to have to really pack everything and just have options for layers. And yeah, I think the recent one I watched, he said he couldn't feel his fingertips for about 3 hours. And I'm like, how can you operate like, I know it's our legs that we use, but we use every part of our body in trail running, like holding poles. And I'm like, if I can't feel my fingertips, that's going to make that tricky. So, yeah, it's definitely research time. And, yeah, just I think I'm quite stubborn. Like I think I'll definitely, I can't see myself not finishing because if I have to crawl, I will. But yeah, it is unlike these other events I'm doing lately where it's all about I'd love to finish in the top 10, UTMB for me is just finishing. And I think that'll take the pressure off pace and things like that. It's just going to be a matter of getting it done in whatever time that takes me, it takes me. But yeah, it's just going to be about finishing.
One thing that I think is your trademark is your great big smile and joy that you bring to your running. Like, how do you bring that joy to your running, even when there's kind of that performance side to it?
Yeah, I think 'cause I just love where we go, the places we get to see. Sometimes even when I'm on my own, I find myself smiling ear to ear just because it's so beautiful. And running into other people, seeing them doing something hard and feeling good about it, the way it makes me feel when I finish something hard, I love it. And I feel so lucky that I can do it when there are so many people that are unable to. So I've just got to keep appreciating every moment that I get to spend out there doing something that I love so much.
So, Annie, you go out and kind of explore these beautiful wild places and you love sharing it on Instagram. And I know, like, when we saw you, it was really funny when I saw you the other weekend because I was out with my friend Kim and she was like, oh, I follow Annie Hand on Instagram and I love seeing where she goes. She loves coming out to Ruin Castle too. And I wonder if we'll see her. And I was like, yeah, that'd be funny. And then sure enough, we're coming down from Ruin Castle and we bump into you, which was hilarious. But also I thought, oh, that's really lovely, like that you're sharing this stuff and that other women are feeling really inspired and excited about going out and exploring these beautiful places. What is kind of the motivation or what does that mean to you?
That's when your friend actually said, I follow you, I was like, and it's such a nice thing to hear people say that they're enjoying what you're doing and giving it a go themselves. I think sometimes we underestimate what we can do and the fact that people are seeing me go out there and then thinking, oh, I might try and do that and succeeding and then thinking, well, if I can do that, maybe I can do an event or maybe I can run 50K, maybe I can run 100K and just seeing people, exceed their expectations of themselves. And there's such a beautiful world out there like that you don't see just around the street. Sometimes you do have to get out of your comfort zone and go for an explore. I think it's a lovely way for us to connect to other women as well who maybe don't feel safe doing it on their own, and having an ally there who, like I run with my good friend Jude, and we have the best time out there and we never feel unsafe. The only thing she worries about is me getting her lost. But we we joke about that, and she knows now to always pack extra of everything because, a 2-hour run can easily turn into a 5-hour any run because we're having such a good time and an adventure. I never call it getting lost. I just call it an adventure. And she keeps coming back. So I think that's something that's really special that we have together. And I hope that other women, I'm seeing it now, other women getting their little tribe of women together and running in the mountains and just having a great time. It's a great mental therapy out there, and I think not only the physical benefits, but what it does to your mind, your soul. It's just, you can't beat it as far as I'm concerned.
So you've obviously had some pretty good Annie adventures. Have there been any that you're like, oh, this is too much adventure right now?
There was one, and it was, I was determined to find Splendor Rock, which is off the back of Narranac, heading towards sort of that K to K. Have you heard of that K to K?
Yeah.
Which I still want to do. That's on my list. The trouble with after the bushfires, the trail became very overgrown and almost non-existent. But like I said before, I'm very stubborn, and I was determined to find this splendid rock. It was a special place where the Anzacs go, and I was, the people I was running with wanted to turn around a few times. I think at one point I said, "Oh no, they found the trail," and they're like, "That's the trail we were on about an hour and a half ago." But it ended with us finding it, getting back. It turned out to be a 10-hour day out. I know, a lot of hiking. One of the guys actually when we finished, we were using the filtered flask off the side of Narranac to fill up because we had no fluid left. And then I actually was the one from the gate at Narranac, ran to the road to pick up the car, and I drove back to pick them up because I felt responsible. But they're the days I'll remember forever as we did it. Yes, it was hard, but geez, it built some mental strength because from then on, I was able to do the 100 kilometres, then the 100 miles. And I draw from that day a lot. There's a lot of times where you think during races where you can use that in another challenge, like I'll never forget Cozzy this year. I did get lost and I was in the lead and went the wrong way. I don't think it cost me my place in the end because those strong girls were coming for me. I knew that. I was enjoying my time up front for that little period. But when I did get lost, I let it mentally ruin me. And I got to the point where at around 75K between Bullock's Flat and Village Green, it should have been quite runnable, and I just couldn't. I couldn't run, and I did actually have a thought because the day before, people doing the 50K had seen snakes, and for the first time ever, because I never want to DNF, right? But I thought if I see a snake and it bites me, I can end it. And I dead set, someone who is frightened of snakes, I was looking everywhere. Come on, where's a snake? I'm just going to lay down in front of it, and that'll be okay. But what I took out of that is when I ran into Village Green and I saw my coach and Ains, my crew, and all the other friendly faces, I felt okay again, and I had Dead Horse Gap to go, and I managed to get it done. And I'm going to try and use that at UTMB when I get to that. People talk about the pain cave, and just being mentally probably the lowest I've felt during an event, knowing that you can come out of it. if you just keep going. Like if I had stopped at that point, I would never have known that it was going to get better. And I'm so glad that I kept going and realized that, yes, you can have a low point, but you might feel better again and be able to finish it. And I finished in 5th place, which, it didn't feel like first, but it definitely, when I think about it, top 10 at COSI, I'm elated. So yeah, I'm happy. Yeah.
But probably the biggest kind of reward is learning that actually you can get to that kind of low point and still push through and come right again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A really good friend of mine, Emily Brunt, you would know Emily as well. She's an excellent runner. And Anne-Marie Cook and Emily and I. Oh, incredible. We run together on a Wednesday wilderness where we just catch up. We run in the mountains around Knapsack and Glenbrook, and we have the best time. But Emily said to me, Annie, these are tools that you put in your toolbox and you just keep putting tools in and you use them when you need them. And I just use that as experiences. Well, that was another tool that I can chuck in my toolbox. And one day that toolbox is going to be sufficient to get it done and hopefully successfully.
I'm sure it will. So, you've got UTA 100 coming up. What are the hopes for that race this year?
Oh, well, Quinton, my coach, said, that's great. We'll treat that like a training run leading into UTMB. And I'm like, I'm going to try my very hardest at that race. This is my backyard and I'm pumped. I can't wait. I've only done the 100K once and I feel like I've grown so much as an athlete, and I feel like I can definitely do a personal best for me out there, and I can't wait. I really can't wait.
And, like being a major, historically UTA didn't draw such kind of an international or elite crowd. It often used to be more of I used to call it like the local derby. You'd get the top Australian runners and not really many people from elsewhere. But now being a major, it's drawing a different caliber of athlete. Is that exciting? How does it feel to kind of have some really top names that you're racing against?
Oh, I'm a bit of a fangirl. Like if I see Lucy Bartholomew on the start line, I'll wet my pants. I'll be so excited. And she's an Aussie, but you're right. It does. Obviously, it brings competition, but I do believe you only get better as a runner when you're running with stronger people and racing the best. Well, what's better than that, hey? And if I can rub shoulders with some of these international athletes, then I certainly will. So, I think it's a great thing that it's a major now and that it's attracting more competitive people as well. Yeah.
And I think it's quite cool too because it really showcases the Blue Mountains to the world because, it is just such an incredibly beautiful area. Words don't do it justice. So it's pretty neat to see that, people going, oh, wow, I saw the live coverage and it looks so epic.
Yes, I think it's great for our local community and all the local businesses. I think it brings, not only the people here, but also the local cafes, restaurants, Airbnbs, they benefit from it too. It's a little disruptive, I guess, for the locals, a little bit busy in the main streets with all these trail runners. But I think the benefits it brings to the area outweigh any negatives, and it's definitely a positive for sure.
Kind of thinking about the area that you live in, the Blue Mountains, and the terrain, there is kind of quite high levels of specificity. Like you just, compared to other places, there's just so many stairs. Like I kind of laugh about it being called the mountains because they're actually cliffs that you're kind of going straight up the side of or down the side of. And so, like thinking about the stairs, what advice
Mm.
would you give to people about running stairs or, hiking
Yeah.
stairs?
I recently attended a training camp with the goat farm, so all of the athletes that Quinton coaches, and it was such an extremely rewarding experience. He taught us all about the fascia system and training it. I'm definitely no expert in explaining it, but all I know is that I focus on being bouncy. I think of myself as being elastic. I practice stairs regularly. You can never get enough of being out on the course and practicing it, like I've said, but also practicing stairs can be things like pogo jumps, skip rope, single leg calf raises, things that you can do like a spring-like structure. So you're bouncy, and I use the fascia system training for the first time in the Wentworth Falls 16K race, and it had so many stairs. And I did come first female in that one, which was really rewarding, but I had a lot of males around me and they were like, "What are you doing?" Because I was sort of just taking my time up these stairs, but running consistently, not stopping, standing tall, bouncy, light. I thought of myself like a fairy or stepping on what are those things called that fall in the water, like a leaf where I can't stand on it for too long because it'll sink,
Okay,
and
yep.
and what it meant for me when I got to the top of those staircases, I didn't have any lactic acid. And it was incredible feeling because in the past I've tried to go up these stairs really fast, do double stair jumps and sprint up this staircase. And then I couldn't run at the top of it. I was gassed. Whereas when I did it in that race and also in 6 foot, I noticed it big time at the top of Pluvi that I could just run. As soon as I got to the top and I was on the flat, I had all this power still in my legs and I didn't have the fatigue that I'm used to having. And I put it all down to training your fascia. And I've been told that once you can train that, you never lose it. So it's one of those things that once you train your body to use it efficiently, it's something that down the track you'll always have that. So I'm really concentrating on that. I've started to include things like hopping and toe walks around the showroom because I'm always taking the opportunities to whatever I can do what's going to make my legs stronger. The latest is wall sits with one leg, which I find excruciatingly hard, but I'm keeping a diary every day and I just want to do better than the day before so that one day I'm going to get to the time where we've set a goal and so far it's working. It just gets easier, which I think you do things repetitively, it will always get easier. So get out on the stairs, but also use the things around you that are so easy. You can hop anywhere. Like people might look at you funny, but you can be anywhere and start skipping and hopping and so that would be my advice.
I'm imagining you stacking up the tiles into little staircases around the shop.
I have been known to do some unusual things in that shop, believe me, and trying to keep an eye out for when the door opens, but I've been busted many a time doing a glute bridge or something. Luckily, a lot of the locals,
Annie.
I know a lot of the locals know me now and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're just training."
That's Annie's thing. She's just
That's
doing
my
her thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, too good. Thinking about that, do you do any other strength work? Like you're
yes.
obviously kind of doing. Yeah.
Yes. So this is also something that I've recently introduced a lot more of, and it's targeted strength training. Not using extremely heavy weights, but slowly I am getting to higher, like sort of fewer reps with heavier weight, and that seems to be helping. A very close friend of mine said to me, when you run, like, where's the first place you feel pain? And I hadn't thought about that before. And the first place I feel fatigue or any sort of ow or sting wasn't my legs. It was actually my arms, which sounds so weird, but it is something. And that's what you work on. So wherever that pain is, you work on that. So for me, it's all about upper body strength this month. I'm concentrating on my arms, my lats, everything like that. I'm doing rowing, and I hope to build strength there, so that then there might be another area I identify as needing work. But I think targeting where hurts first and where you feel the fatigue first is the best way to do your strength training. And it doesn't have to be super heavy weight. Some people just use their body weight in strength training. But yeah, I've got little hand weights at the shop as well. So I try and fit that in every day.
Of course,
And there's always tiles. There's always tiles.
So I was thinking that. I was like imagining you with some tile stacks. What do you think? Like, so you're obviously like really looking at the big picture to get some performance gains. Where do you think your next kind of unturned stone is? What's the next thing that you think, oh, I really need to work on that?
Yeah, definitely my strength, like we just spoke about. I did
Mm-hmm.
a bit of testing with my coach in the goat shed this last week. We did lactate testing, which involved running on a treadmill. He would test my lactate through the blood every 3 minutes and we'd slowly get faster. That identified my zones and where I should be training, you know, using that information. And that was pretty spot on to what we already thought I was at. But then we did this testing on my strength, and some areas I exceeded expectations. Apparently I'm good at calf raises, never knew that. But yeah, that was great to hear. But there were so many areas that I can work on. Something as simple as standing on a block and jumping down and then springing back up. And I thought, that's easy. That's not hard. But it's about limiting the time that I am on the ground when I bounce back up. And the reason that's important is when you're doing these technical downhill trails, to keep light on your feet, and you see the pros, how they move. And I'm now I understand why these exercises that Quentin gives me are so important, and that's something that there's definitely room for improvement. And I was so glad that there were things that I took out of that session where you don't want to be told, yeah, you're at the best you're going to be. You know, this is it. This is your peak. I think the fact that he identified places which I can, even if it's just a 1% thing that I can train and get better at, then you kind of go, wow, I'm sort of doing well already. Maybe I can do better. And that excites me so much, because I'm like, if this isn't my top, then maybe with these little changes I can perform better. So that's really, really pleasing to know.
It's a pretty good growth mindset you've got there. I like it. Have you got have you ever had kind of a really stink injury or something like that that's, set you back a bit?
Not really. When I
No.
first started taking up trail running, I always had a bit of a weak knee from a soccer injury 10 years ago, and my knee would sort of pop out every now and then, and I'd just pop it back in and keep going. It never really stopped me from running. But
Mhm.
with all the strength training I'm doing, I've strengthened that area particularly, and that doesn't happen and doesn't bother me anymore. One thing I do find is that I'm lucky. Someone asked me the other day, do you ever wake up sort of sore? And I'm like, yeah, like, not heaps. Like, never to the point where I feel like I can't run. Um,
Mhm.
I found a massive difference between 6 foot 6 months ago. I raced that really hard, and I probably felt sorer from that race than I did after the miler, which is a big difference in distance, but just the amount of effort I put myself through, you know. And this year I managed to race it even harder, but I think smarter. And I felt fine. Like, I did take some recovery days on advice from my coach, but I felt like I could run the next day. I didn't, but I felt like I could. And I think that is showing that my body is, it's becoming quite resilient. I'm able to, go again, which I think is great without having any injuries, which, touch wood. I
I'll
think
cross
if I
my
feel,
fingers for you.
thank you. I think everyone knows if Annie can't run, she ain't worth knowing. I'll be a nightmare. So everyone sort of crosses their fingers. Oh man, don't you get injured, because they know how happy it makes me. So I think if I
Yeah.
continue to fuel my body and look after it, respect it, like don't run 1,000 kilometers because you can. It's sort of like, take advantage of days where you could run slower. Like, we've introduced zone 1 and 2 days where you are still out there. I'm still getting that escape and enjoyment, but I'm not pushing my body to a threshold. I'm just enjoying being out there, keeping my heart rate low. And that, I think, is so important. To run slow, to then learn to run fast, is extraordinary thing. Yeah.
Well, we're almost at the point where we ask this question of everybody that comes on Dirt Church Radio. And it is, Annie Hand, what is your greatest run ever?
I would have said to you the UTA miler, because to me that was, it was such an achievement, and you saw how elated I was on the finish line. But I have to say, it's definitely 6 foot in the last month, or this month, But 6 foot for me, 2026. Feeling fantastic throughout the entire race, not having that empty feeling that I've had in past races, and being on course and remembering how I felt 6 months earlier in certain spots and not feeling that way and going, oh, Black Range, this is where it really starts to hurt. And I didn't. And I think having that finish line and just, I couldn't, like I said, I still pinch myself that I was able to stand up there with Sarah and Steph and be amongst it. I feel very blessed, and that was my best race to date.
That's fair enough too. Just I agree. Like, those 2 ladies that were on the podium with you, top ladies, and it was pretty cool to see the 3 of you up there. And it sounds amazing too, like that you actually just had this really dream day. Like, that's what we all run for, right? Like, when you have that amazing day that just everything goes right.
It does, yeah. I ran into one of my teammates during the race, Luke, and we got to deviation. He turned around and he looked at me and he goes, Annie. And I go, yeah. Like, my smile must have been bigger than even normal. And he goes, are you having the race of your your life? And I said, I think I am. And that was great. And to share it with a teammate as well, we ran into the finish line pretty much together, and I'm grateful for that. That was really special. It was good. Yeah.
Well, I hope you have plenty more races like that, Annie. I'm keen to see how you go at UTA and at UTMB. And
I can't wait to see you.
Keep bringing that. Likewise, keep bringing that trademark joy that you do, and keep up the sharing of all those beautiful natural spaces. And we'll look forward to seeing you in a few weeks' time.
Hearing your voice on the finish line is what gets me home, Ali. I can't wait. I just can't wait. Thank you so much for having me. And I look forward to seeing you in person again real soon.
Likewise. Thanks, Annie.
Thank you.
Dirt Church Radio is presented by me, Matt Raymond, with my old mates Ali Pottinger and Andrew McDowell. We're on all the podcast platforms, so like, follow, and give us a rating. It really helps. We're on social media at dirtchurchradio.com, and you can email us directly at dirtchurchradio@gmail.com. Don't forget to sign up to our Substack for a weekly newsletter and Aid Station podcast. Don't forget to write in with your greatest run ever. We love to hear from them, and you can read them on the website too. Thanks to our supporters, Further Faster, and our Substack subscribers and the DCR Aid Station crew. Stay tuned for our show in 2 weeks when we've got another great guest lined up. Mā te wā.